This is what would become of Germany along with the conquered surrounding countries during the late 1930s and early 1940s in World War II. The German government, the Nazis, came into power and used propaganda in the hope of a destroyed country to force their own beliefs and ways on the German people along with conquered lands. Although supporters of the German Nazi Party believed they were purifying the world of inferior races by first stripping the Jews of their rights and eventually seeking to eliminate them, in the ghettos and camps many Jewish people held on to their human dignity by fighting for their rights and preserving their culture. In the face of horrific prosecution, Jewish people fought to keep their humanity. This strength would lead to the creation of secret societies, medicine being smuggled into the ghettos, and Jewish people dying brave and strong in the concentration and death camps. During World War II, the world was in chaos. This allowed for the Nazi rulers to step in during a time of economic downfall and force ideas and ways upon the German and conquered people who were in desperate need of hope. These restrictions would soon escalate into something much larger that would grab the world's attention. This meant that the Jewish people and other groups like gypsies and anti-Nazis would soon become the main targets. Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi group, began to force rules and restrictions upon these people, but it would soon become clear to him that he needed a more drastic way of eliminating the threat. On January 25, 1938, a clause was sent out. It stated, although little did most know that the protective custody would soon become slave labor and death by starvation, shooting, and gassing. These horrible acts of murder started with mobile killing units. The system of sending mobile killers to stationary victims was slow, public, and horrifying even for the SS. So, by late 1941, the system was reversed. The victims were made mobile. They were sent by train from ghettos and cities to stationary killing centers. In the camps, murder was swift and effective. Thousands were brought from the ghettos on trains where conditions were unbearably worse. On the trains, they were overfilled with little sanitation, and if people survived the train, they faced an unimaginable fate before them. Once the Jews and others being prosecuted were unloaded from the train, they would face a series of inspection stations. Those who could walk would then face the first station. Elderly people, pregnant women, young children, and the sick were immediately condemned to death. Some would be brought to gas chambers and others were sent to the shooting pits. But no matter where they were sent, the Jewish people kept their humanity rather than turn into animals and allowed for fate to take its course, sometimes saying, at some camps, those selected for work were registered, had their hair shaved off, and their arms tattooed with a number, and uniforms were issued. At other death camps, no matter what condition the Jews were in, they were all sent to their death. Once they got past the first hurdle, life didn't get easier. With fear and death looking at them straight in the eye every day, they learned to obey certain unspoken rules. It would soon be proven that not following the rules would get you the furthest. This desperation for living and not giving up allowed for people to live in such a deadly place. The Jewish ghettos were a place of secret, functioning societies that tried hard to forget that they were in a war zone. One thing they held on to was medicine, even though it was a very hard uphill battle with it. Ghettos caused for epidemics to frequently begin in synagogues, where thousands were forced to live in cramped quarters with grossly inadequate sanitary facilities. Even though their conditions were inhumane and nearly 30% of all deaths in a single ghetto were caused by heart disease due to the result of tension and stress of ghetto life, the people would often not report their illness due to deportation to the death camps. So if one person had a sickness in the house, by not reporting the cases of disease, families could avoid this treatment. This is just one way the Jewish people would take their lives into their own hands rather than let the Nazis control them. Another thing they did was have underground schools and libraries. This went against Nazi rules, so if the guards knew about it, the consequences would be very severe. These events in the ghettos prove that the fact that most Jews would rather die than give up their way of order and community in the ghettos. They did this by maintaining their pride as human beings, even at the lowest of all lows. During the Nazi rule, the Jewish people were stripped of everything, but throughout all the struggles they faced on a daily basis, the ones who made it out alive, along with the ones who died in the process of the fight, allowed for the Jewish people to keep going as individuals and as a community. The struggle they endured allowed for the world to change for the better and brought justice to the people who committed crimes that violated human rights.